Hi everyone, it's Kay from the Paper Shed. Hope you're all doing well today. Thanks for coming back and joining me. We are back with day 16 of the hashtag ABC April 2025 collaboration hosted by the lovely Margerth from Seven Plaza and Toni from Crafting by Toni. And it's the letter N today. So we are going to do notebooks. I wanted to keep it quite simple and easy. I'm just going to give you sort of three types of simple, easy notepads that you can stick together, put them in your stash, and use them as and when you want to. And you can embellish later when you know which project they're going to go into. Because it's aimed at beginners, I'm trying to make sure that I do sort of simple and easy and quick sort of options for you guys so that you get as much out of this collaboration as possible. The collaboration is absolutely mega, and I can't believe how many people are actually taking part. But we're over halfway there now. So if you haven't caught up with all the videos, pop across and catch up with the videos, because there is some fabulous, fabulous collaborators out there. So we're going to start with notebooks and we're going to get started. So I'm back with a few supplies that you may probably need for making a few notebooks. Now, you don't really need anything like, proper papers like this. But if you don't have big enough scraps, then coffee dyed paper, coffee dyed sort of graph paper, this sort of paper would do, because you can write on it. Anything that you can or feel that you can write on is fine. For the cover and for other bits and pieces, you're probably just going to need whatever you have in your supplies. Now, I've just found some bits of scraps out that I think I could use, so I'm going to use those. You're also going to need to fill your covers with some note paper, and like I said, you can use this or you can use whatever scraps that you may have lying around. I've just literally been through my scrap bin and just found several little bits which I'll incorporate into whatever notebooks we decide to make, or whatever we can come up with out of my scrap bin. So go through your scrap bin, find out what you've got. I mean, it can be small pieces like this, because that can be folded. I know this one's not level, but we can make it level into a tiny little booklet like this, and we'll just level that up. This one is the same. Could probably make a nice little booklet out of that, and that one could be nicely decorated up. Now, I found these in my stash. I made some windowed, I can't remember what I did with it now. Oh, window pockets the other day, and these were my trial pieces. And I thought, well, we could make a nice acetate window little one for that. Again, I've got a double-sided piece there that will make a nice notebook. I've got this piece here, which if I cut that off there, we can make quite a nice little bound notebook from that. So I'll do that one in a moment. That's the same as the other one. This one I thought would make a nice sort of shopper list. We'll just, make a little piece from that and fold it over, and then this would be your writing area here. Same with that one. And with this one, we could make a long one. Long note one. This was just to cover one of the covers, just so that we can have a different feel to it. And these are obviously just going to be my inside papers. Now, if you've got scraps and you've got, I buy booklets, school booklets. They're cheap, they're easy to do, and you can just use them as, whatever scraps that you can come up with, really. They don't all have to be the same size. You can make oddments. Now, I've made some recently. This one was to do with one of the events that we held over on the group Junk Journal Fix with Sunflower Indoors. And I made this tag front, which is what gave me the idea to use those, actually. And I put a little pocket in the back, and I just put plain papers in, which I just sewed in. And it's a hardback. It's covered like a journal, and you don't have to have anything elaborate like that. This one was another one that we made for another event out of a paper bag. And it's got, because it was a paper bag, it's got a pocket on the front of both the back and front cover. And then I've got these papers inside. So that was a nice, quick and easy make to do as well. And this one was just a folded over piece of printed. This one was already printed like this, and I just decorated the front with ephemera. So they, you know, you can make fairly quick, fairly easy bits and pieces. So we're gonna get on and we're gonna make the first few, and let's just see what we have. So you need to just sort of find your papers really first, see what you've got. Unless I'm making a specific book, journal, and it needs to be something specific, this is how I would tend to make my booklets up, is out of my junk. With these two, we'll do that one separately because they're odd pieces, and I've already got a piece of that, so I'll just stick that back in the stash. And this one, I want to cut that off and make sort of a bound booklet here. So they can be loose papers, which is a different way and a different method to do it. This is double-sided so that we can just make it from that and then decorate the front. So that's the same as that really. Same as that one. Same as that one. That one needs trimming down, and then this one just needs a little acetate window putting in. So I think we'll just get on and do a couple of the simple ones, which are going to be these here to start with. And I'm going to need my trimmer. So I'll just get my trimmer out. So I'm just going to trim that up. I mean, you want it to be fairly substantial because it's going to be a little booklet. Yeah, it doesn't matter that that's ripped. It adds to it, I suppose. We can round the corners on that. Yeah. So I'll just round the corners on that and on that one there. Yeah, that'd make quite a nice little booklet actually. This one is more or less done, so I'll just round those corners. I like to sort of get my covers first because then it makes it a lot easier when you come to put the innards in. And then this one, I quite like this, but I think I'm going to have to cut that edge off. So I'm just going to straighten that edge a little and straighten down there. Make it as straight as possible. There we go. And then literally what we're going to do, and what you can do with these is if you keep coffee spray on your desk, you can literally just spray your pages and leave them to dry. You know, it doesn't have to be anything too elaborate. Just leave them all to dry. It just gives a bit of an added touch to those. Yeah, you can just spray coffee spray your plainer papers if you want to, and it just gives it a little bit of added feature. So what we're going to try and do is with these four here, we're just going to fit some papers in. Now I don't want to use the wet ones obviously because they're wet, so we'll just put those to one side. That would probably fit into there. Yes. So I want to cut it on that red line, take that red line off. I don't know whether I'll get all that through, it's damp. Try just like that. And then what we want to do is just measure how wide it needs to be. I'll just mark that with a pencil. And I'll just come inside that pencil line. And I'm just going to cut just a little bit inside that pencil line. Now I don't normally throw these away because you can make little booklets yourself just for your desk, really. I tend to just do this, look. I just stick a couple of things in the top, staples in the top, and I just use it for notes on my desk because I'm terrible. I can never find a piece of paper when I want it on my desk. And then I don't think we'll get all of those in there, so we'll have to do half and half. And there's enough pages in that one to do a you know, a substantial little notebook. You know, you don't want them too big. You don't want them like a journal. So you're only looking at putting, I don't even know how many pages there are there actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, there is actually 10, and no, 9 there. And you don't really need that much either. So that one's ready to rock. So that one can be sewn in. Then we've got, what else have we got on the desk? We've got this, which is not big enough for that. Probably big enough for that though. So I'm just going to mark that, see if I can cut that off. So just go ahead and do all the bits that you can for the pieces, you know, for your covers. When you come to need any of this, which I need for this one, my front cover, the easiest way to do it, I think, is that's 3 inches, so you're going to be looking at 6. So you want to cut a piece or some, you want to cut them at 6 and double them over. So we're going to be cutting that at 6, and then we are going to need that in a sec. And then we'll just fold them all over together, and then we can cut the end off when we know that we've got it in the right place. Probably do with a little bit of a trim there, and then obviously we want to make it cut along there. So it's exactly the same way, but you're just measuring your pieces now. So we want that to be cut there, and I just want to just do a little trim off of there. So I'm going to bring it in just shy of the 3-inch line, and then trim whatever else is down there. Sorry, I've moved my paper. There we go. Okay, let me just throw those bits away. That we can make a little booklet with. And there you have that one. Now, I haven't cornered those, but we can when we come to put them all together. So I'm thinking now, we've got this one. Shall we use this paper to do that one? And then I'll find out if I've got enough. Have I got enough to do that? I could cut it down though, couldn't I? So that I can use it. So if we fold those over and then put those into there, because I want them right into the corner. So I only need to cut a little bit off this one. And I want to cut off about there for this one. So let's do that one, seeing as we've got it. Just those papers there. That's about there. So that's my papers done, but I want to cut that flap off there. Make it as straight as possible, and then cut that off there. Okay, and then that one is going to be a nice little notebook then. Okay, so that's that one done. So we've done 3. We've done those 4. We've got this one and this one to do. So I think we'll use these papers for that. So we just need to know that's just under 3. So we want about 5, maybe 5 and yeah, just over 5 and 3, just under 5 and 3/4. And then I'm going to fold that in. I'm going to fold it like so, I think. Make sure I've got it in the right place. Line those up and then just crease down there. And then we just need to cut off that bit and that bit for those. Okay. There and there. Right, that's no good. That's no good. They're no good. They're no good. Put those in the bin. They'll be useful for something. They will be useful for something in a bit. Let's just try those. Okay, so now we've got this one as well. Okay, so we've got 5 there, and then we've got this one. Now this one is 2 3/4 inch. Because it'll have to be these. So you want about 2 3/4 inch fold. A little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to pop that into there. So we're going to cut that off there, and we're going to cut that off there. Okay. And off there, and that off there. Keep those. It's there. And then we have this one. Okay. So now we've got all our papers sorted. We'll do the decoration in a little while once we've got all these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew them in. I'm going to sew one with you, and then I'm going to go away and sew the rest. Now this one's going to be put into this part differently. So I'm going to do that slightly different. On little ones like this, I think all I would tend to do with this one is staple it. Now, it's a little stapler that I found on Temu. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up my line with that. And further down. And there, that's your booklet. That's complete. And I just get my bone folder. Okay, you've got a nice little booklet there. You could, as I say, we could have tea dyed these papers in here. You can ink around it, but we'll do all that in a sec once I've got the different mechanisms in for you. I'm going to stitch that one. I'm going to stitch this one. In fact, I'll do this one with my stapler. Now you can do it the other way so that your staples are flatter on the outside. Okay, I need to ink just so that I can see that line. And then what you need to do, I need to do it around this way because the thing is stopping me. And then just line your stapler up. That's if you have one. If you've got a stapler that can do this, great. You can do it with a normal stapler. You just have to turn it around. So if you've got a normal stapler, staple in the first one. So this is your normal stapler. Turn it around like that, staple that one in, and then move it across and staple that one in. Okay, but then that one's done as well. I'm just going to round those paper ends there. Where's my rounder? I use the smaller one, I think, for this one. So I'm just going to do those. And then there's that booklet finished as well. So there's those two. I'm going to sew these two, and this one. And then this one I'm going to do slightly differently. So I'll just get my needle and thread. You can use anything for your thread to do your stitching in, especially in your notebooks, because it's not really, it doesn't need to be substantial. So I'm just using an embroidery thread in this light blue, and that's 1, 2. It's usually 2.5, but I find you don't really need that much, to be honest. These scissors just don't cut anything. And then all you need to do is exactly like you do a signature. Just get your papers in. Get your pokey tool. And I'm just going to do a quick and easy 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So you go in the middle, come about 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. And then you go into the middle. Hold your thread with your thumb or into whatever you're holding it with. I can't find my hole now. Can't see it even. I think that's it. And then through there, over the back there, and back in through the middle. Now what you need to make sure is when you go back in through the middle that you don't catch any threads. It doesn't matter really so much with the embroidery thread, purely because it doesn't, because it's loosely knitted together. Well, it's not knitted, is it? It's loosely twisted together. So if you did get a needle through your thread, it is easily pulled out. So you don't really have to worry if you're using embroidery thread. If you're using the waxed cotton, then you have to be careful. So just tie that in a knot and cut that off. And there you've got this nice little stitched notebook. And that hasn't got any, so we'll just keep that over there. I'll do the other one off screen, and then okay, so what I've done is they're my stapled ones, and I've just inked around it, and that's my staple one, and I've inked around that. I've threaded this one and bone folded it and inked it, and that's the one that you watch me do on screen, and I've just inked around there. Now while I was looking for a piece of acetate, I came across this piece which was too nice not for it to be a booklet. So what I've done is I've got some extra pieces of these left, which are loose. So I thought what I'd do is I would just stick those into there. I've cut them all down and I've inked around my piece. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to staple those together at the top. And just put a couple of staples in the top there. And you've got a little loose page booklet there. And we can just trim that off at the top because I've got some sticking out the top of there. I'm just going to, that's it. That's all it needed. So we've got another little extra booklet there now. And then for this one, which has got the window in, you don't really need this flap, but because it's the edge of my booklet, I want to keep it so that it's got a sturdy lip. because it doesn't make it very sturdy having the window this big in it. So I've prepped my piece of acetate. That's going to go in and fit there like so. Okay, and all I've done, so I've cut around it and I've just put some double-sided tape on all sides. I prefer to use the double-sided tape than I do glue, but art glitter glue works. I've not tried it with other glues, so I couldn't tell you what glue really works and what doesn't. I just know art glitter glue does. And then I'm just going to pop that into that bit there. And then I'm just going to let that fall in and go around the edge like that. Okay. And then this part I'm going to glue down. Well, actually, we could double side it because it's going onto that acetate. So I think I'm just going to just put 2 pieces of this down because it's only the thin one. Just burnish that in and then peel that off. It just gives the edge of your booklet a little bit more stability when you've got a window this big. And then I'm just going to fold that over and stick that to there. Okay, then what I've got is I've got another piece exactly the same size as my window, and it's going to go in there, but I want to decorate it first. So we're going to decorate that before we stick it down, and then you'll have another little booklet there, which I've sewn the signature in, and that will make another little booklet. So we'll decorate that in a moment. So we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've actually got 6 little booklets there. And then for this one, what I'm going to do is I want that to be pushed right into there. And we've got this little fold here. So this was from a project that I did earlier on in the series, which was an interactive piece. And I needed to have a piece of card. I'll give you the size actually. Now you can have it any size you want. So this is almost 8 inches wide. So at 4 inches, I scored it in the middle, and then I scored 1/2 inch either side of the middle of the centre fold. And then I just scored it so that it creates this sort of lip here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper into the lip. I'm going to secure it down with a clip. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hole punch, and I'm going to put a hole. Now let's measure it. What does it measure? It measures just under 5 3/4. So it's about here, which is the middle's about here. Okay. So I sort of want to come up. I'm going to do 1 1/4. Yeah, I'll do 1 1/4 inches from the top, which is there, and I'm going to do 1 1/4 inches from the bottom, which is about there. Okay, so I'm just going to put 2 eyelets in, and I'm using big ones. So I'm going to put the tip of my crocodile right on the edge of that fold line, and I'll do the same on this side. Okay, so that they're level. All right. And then what I'm going to do is get a couple of eyelets. Doesn't matter what colour they are. I'll just use these gold ones. And then I'm going to pop an eyelet in either side. Oh, it's on the small one. Just bear with me. And then I'm just going to turn it around. I'm going to squeeze that one in. Perfect. And then on this side, I'm going to do the same with that. Take that off now. And there you have a nice little booklet there with a different fastening, which is quite different. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to stick a little bit of ribbon in. I can't use that bit. Let me just see if I can pull a piece out. It's probably going to be long enough. And then, so I'm going to go in from the back, get my tweezers and just poke that through there. Do the same with the other side. There we go. I have that flat on the back and flat on that edge there. And then we're just going to tie a little bow. Okay. I don't want it that big, so we just make that a bit smaller. There we go. It's not serving any purpose other than decoration, because your eyelets are keeping all your papers in. Okay. It's just a different way to do it, really. So these are all now ready for a bit of decoration. So let me get some bits together and we will sort those out. Okay, so I've sorted out a few bits of ephemera just to decorate with, but I just want to show you how to do these sort. And this is just a fold over piece. So you just get whatever piece you've got. I got this piece. And then get some papers. I mean, I've cut this one down to size because I don't have many scraps left. But you literally just pop in as many pieces as you can, as long as it fits across the width of your piece of paper, and you can fold that across there, and we can just staple those together with a stapler. So you literally do the same with this one. And then we can put a piece across there. Now some of these are too long, so I'm just going to put that just where that is, just where the end of your sheet is, and take off whatever is too long. And there you've got a nice little booklet with different papers in. And then the same with this one. This one was a different width. Again, I have just cut these down because I haven't got many scraps left. But I've got these at width, so I'm just going to pop those under there, centralise those, and then see if I can staple these. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, that's the back, so I'm just going to put my piece where it needs to be. And you can make some of them longer and shorter, it's up to you. And there you have a nice little pad again. And we can put something on here as a decoration to cover those staples, that's fine. But that's another way to do the booklets. I'll just pop those into my scraps. Remove that. So all we're going to do with these two, they don't need much because they're so well decorated, you know, because of the papers that we've actually chose to use. So I'm just going to find my glue. I thought I'd just stick a layer on it because it's blue, really. Okay, so I'm just going to shove that on there. And then I'm just going to see if I can find a little sentiment to go on the top. Be fearless. I think that's the one we'll have. There we go. And I think we'll just have that coming off of here. There. And that's all that really needs, is just a little label and a word. And I think this only needs a word as well. And it's all it really needs when it's decorated like this. You don't really need much else. On here, I thought we'd have a label which needs sticking on. I'm just going to pop that down there like so. And then I've got a leaf. We'll have that sort of on there. And just get my cloth just to dab that glue down. Okay. And then I'm just going to have this flower on it as well. I can cut the end off. Okay, just press that one down, and I'm just going to snip that end off there. And then I think we'll just have a nice saying on the top there. And I think we'll do that like so. Practice kindness. They come out quite cute. I like doing these sort of things, and I think it's something that you can do if you're not, you know, if you're not feeling it and you're not really sure what to do. Just get your scraps out, make whatever you can. Now this one is for my window, so I thought what I'd do is, we don't need a sentiment unless we put one on the front. But I thought we'd have this down the side of here. Now I've got to be careful because some of this I'm going to put it onto the label, I think, because some of this won't show because of the outer part of the window. But I want to be able to lift that up so that I can put these in. I'm just going to put that underneath there. Oops. Okay, that down. Now I'm going to put some glue onto this one. Sorry, I'm working too close to me again, aren't I? And I think I'm going to have that coming off of the label. Just got glue everywhere. Okay, and then this one I want down on under there, I think. Actually, I don't mind it being on top, I don't think, but straight. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to stick that to there like that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do that with double-sided sticky tape purely because it's going back onto the acetate there. Poker tool. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I count them. There is only 4. It's not going to change because I'm counting it. Okay, and then what I want to do is I'm going to pop that. You don't want to stick it right into that groove purely because you need it to be able to move. So I have made it slightly smaller. And there's that one, and I think we will have a sentiment on the outside just to finish it off. Yeah, I think I'll cut it down. So I'm just cutting it down because I want this bit on first. Okay, so I want love with all your heart. And I'll just pop that underneath, and I'm going to cut that end off a little bit just to make it equal on both sides. And then I can put that one there. There you go. I quite like that one. That's quite nice. And then what have we got left? We have the orange one, which has literally just got a butterfly and a label. So we'll stick the label on. Now I have ripped it because it's let's put that at the top. Yeah, I'll put it there. I'm going to put it there, and I've noticed that that's a bit bigger. That's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to put the butterfly here. Okay. And then I'm just going to get a piece of boo-boo tape to just stick on the top of there. I'm going to put that across there like so. And cut that bit off the top. Yes, I like that. And then we've got the black and white one, which we did with the ribbon, which I quite like. I need to dampen this down a bit. It's a bit too stark. It doesn't have to be by much. I just want to give it a dirty look. Give it a dirty look. Okay, I'm just going to put that on the end. And I do want to get this glue because of it being on the black. This is actually a sticker. There we go. I want it to come on the top. That's better. That's okay. I like this one as well, but it needs to. That needs to go on first. Okay, so I'm going to pop that onto here and level that up. And then I've got this, which is just going to come off of there. And then just this. go. Okay. I like that as well, actually. Simple but nice. And then I think what we'll do is, does it need a word though? I've used all the small ones. Attitude is everything. Yeah, see, that looks better already. Still not straight though. That's better. Okay. So we could have something on here, which could be that. So I could put this over here. Choose to be happy. Just go a little bit over the edge there. And then we could put something on there, maybe a butterfly. Let's see if we can find some small butterflies. Although I have got a little flower there, which would suffice for now. Because I know the video is going on quite a bit longer than I wanted it to. But I think that will work. So that's quite cute. And then we've got this one, which we can finish. And I think we'll stick with the white. And we will become your best. Become your best you. And I think we'll put that one across this way. And then we need to just try, we can use a multitude of colours really on this one. Whatever that one is, we will use. Oh, maybe not. Whatever that one is, we won't use. Pop that over there. Let's just quickly just tidy through. Okay, so this is what we have. We had two of these kind. We've got these, which are all the same method. And then we've got this, which is the same method, but it's just got a different binding to it. I think they're cute. What do you think? They're quite easy. How many did we manage to get done in the end? We got this one, but we hadn't decorated it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9 if you count that one. But we didn't do too bad. And I think, you know, we've accomplished the notebook theme, I think. I like this one. And I like these. These are really cute just to stick into a journal. And yeah, the window's nice. So let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you can take something away from that or have learnt something new. And yeah, I will be seeing you tomorrow. So thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.